These are stories about murder.
Could there be a hidden clue?
Things that are exceptionally alarming.
Like what?
Just alarming things.
Because he's at the bottom of the ocean, every little sound is intensely magnified. He hears animals eating his friends and crewmates.
Oh my God. Instead of scattering ashes, he had simply dumped them in the parking lot. In Germany, before a royal court.
Thought she was Polish.
No, the magician is Polish.
This is 3 Shots In.
And today, we're talking about... Welcome back to 3 Shots In. I'm Jake.
I'm Jess, and this is episode 22.
That's right. We'll be talking all about fear.
Fear. Things you're afraid of.
Ooh, so scary.
Spooky.
Just fearful you'll be.
Things that make you feel like a silly little goose.
Yeah, like ghosts. Just fearful things. We're talking about all the fears.
Yes. I'm talking about a lot of them specifically.
I'm talking about one specifically. But we'll get into that later.
Okay.
For
Is
now,
it fear of serial killers? Are you just going to talk about a serial killer?
I'm not talking about serial killers. I don't always do serial. In fact, I very rarely do serial killers anymore.
Not lately.
I did one.
You did like 4.
I did one.
4.
The
or
tube
3.
sock killer. That's all I've done. Anyway.
I don't think that's right.
Okay, well, you know what? Maybe the world should stop producing serial killers for me to talk about. Maybe that's the main problem, Jessica. You should be looking at the social problem, not just me. Okay?
Society is making serial killers is what you're saying.
They're putting it out there for me
right.
to talk about.
It's a systematic issue.
I agree.
Understood.
So, before we move on, obviously, thank you all so much for listening. We love you. We don't love you, actually, unless you're a patron, in which case we do love you.
I love you all. But Jacob's love,
no,
it's conditional.
It's conditional. You can, I would say it's hard to earn my love, but it's not. It's only $5 a month to earn my love.
That's the cost of like 3 cans of Spam.
Is Spam that? I feel like Spam should be like way less than that. Should be like
Spam is surprisingly
8-9 cans of Spam.
Surprisingly expensive.
Ugh.
Depending on where you are. But yeah.
See, and reasons like that, things like that make me want to say, I hate America. You know?
Because Spam
I love America.
that you never buy is expensive.
But my America, Spam should be 25 cents, okay?
Okay.
When I am president, my first decree, or I don't know, executive order,
right?
Sign it. I'll sign it bigger than Trump, because he used to like throw his whole arm into it.
He got really wristy.
Yeah. No, I'm going to sign even bigger. My whole body's going into that signature. Spam should be no more than 25 cents a can.
They'll frame it and put it in museums. That's what you're saying?
I'll pass out all the pens to everybody. Yeah.
Exciting. Yeah. Exciting stuff. Well, tonight we are drinking Corona Extra with some limes inside. That's what we drank last time.
Yes. Very simple cocktail.
Really good.
Beer, not a cocktail. Very simple, but it's so good.
I like it a lot.
And if you drink Corona without a lime, it's okay. But that lime really does make the difference. Shots. We had shots of the wonderful, not wonderful, I didn't like it that much, Ka.
I liked it.
Tequila Reposado. I think it's because, they put them in those oak barrels and they tried to be unique, and they were.
Right.
They were unique in that, but it just wasn't good.
Well, this was our first time giving it a try. The Ka, K-A-H, authentic Mexican quality tequila reposado. It was aged for more than 2 months in American oak casks.
2 months.
That's what it says. Premium craftsmanship. And I approve. I enjoyed it.
It's all right. But you said it was aged for 2 months.
Almost.
And that brings me in...
more than 2 months.
That brings me into my update.
Oh.
I got something that has been aged for right about 2 months now.
Okay.
That's a baby.
That's right.
What?
Jacob's going to be a daddy.
What? Yes, my wife is pregnant. She is, as of this recording, a little over 7 weeks. We got a little raspberry. That's what they're calling it. It's a little raspberry.
They're raspberry sized.
Uh-huh.
That's so nice.
We will find out the gender of the baby, I think in 3 weeks or something like that.
Okay.
And then Dani wants to do like a gender reveal thing. So I thought maybe it'd be fun if you did like, you know, you were going to record it for us or something, but really you were going live on like 3 shots in.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, don't tell Dani. It's okay. She doesn't listen anyway.
No, she doesn't.
It's fine.
Neither does Terry.
But yeah, that was my update. It's a pretty big update.
Yes. And that is something we've been aware of for several weeks now.
Yes.
It has been very exciting news. Very difficult to tell you all. Not to tell you all, I should say. It's been difficult to keep it a secret because I've been so excited to be an auntie.
You will. This is your first niece or nephew.
My very first. So, yes, very, very exciting. I have some updates of my own.
Okay, let's hear them.
YouTube. We've been talking about it for a while. And by that, I mean several years. But very recently, we've been talking about it like we're already on there. And that's all on me. I am editing these YouTube video podcasts.
I was leaning in
doing right now?
to like grab another beer.
Did you not realize you were in my shot?
I'm totally just blocking everything that you're doing.
That's okay. You guys can all see the thickness and or thinness of Jacob's scalp. His hair.
Oh, what the fuck?
What?
Rude.
I'm just saying they can inspect it.
I've been under a lot of stress, Jessica. Stop.
You're getting that father baldness.
Yeah. Dude, honestly, like I am growing into such an amazing father, you know?
Wow.
I have all the dad material about me. I get home and I drink beer.
Right.
We sit down to like watch a TV show and I fall asleep on my chair. Because I have a little chair in the living room and I sit down.
The dad chair.
I'm just asleep.
Right.
You know? And then I wake up, you know, and I'll go and like clean up the mess that Dani inevitably made. And then I'm just so sleepy, I got to go to bed.
You're just so sleepy.
Wake up in the morning and I go to work.
Right.
Do it all again. It's, you know, that's exactly what you want in a father, I think. That's what TV has shown me, at least.
The television, it does imply that. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, you sound ready to me.
Thank you. Thank you.
But YouTube. We've been talking about it like it's up there. There's just a lot I wanted to do. You know, you watch YouTube videos and you see these silly little like animations and colorful little like, you know, shit they throw into the videos there. And I really liked those and I thought that would be easy to do. Not so much for me. Probably just because these episodes are so long. So I'm just going to bite the bullet and I'm going to put these out not exactly the way that I wanted, but they will be out. Stay tuned for those. They will be out soon. But that is the reason they haven't been up thus far.
I think we got a button for that.
Yay! You thought it was the bad one, didn't you?
No?
We have one that goes wah, wah, wah.
I think that's this one. Oh my
That's the
God.
scary one.
It wasn't that one. What?
No. The green one. Oh, I'm so sorry. That was insensitive.
That was insensitive.
The one above the blue.
See, I knew the yellow button was a happy button. So,
Oh, thanks.
yeah, good job. I'm proud, happy
Thanks. Cool. Well,
of all the hard
Jacob,
work that I've put in.
As a new soon-to-be father,
Yes.
why don't you go ahead and spin the wheel?
You know what? I love that idea. I'm going to do it.
Good, solid, masculine spin.
Thank you.
One to make your future child proud.
Thank you. Thank you. Of
course.
Well, Jessica, we got Would You Rather Fear Edition. So I think this could be anyone's fear, or you could like explicitly target me in fear.
Well, let's warm up.
Okay.
Would you rather be buried alive or burned at the stake?
Wow. Fuck. You know, in one hand, it's over quickly, but painfully. In the other hand, I have days of torment.
It's just the first thing that popped into my mind.
Yeah. I'm going to say buried alive.
Buried alive? Why is that?
Yeah. And I think that's because,
Because you would just fall asleep like the future dad you are?
yeah, I think either I would just fall asleep and be dead. Or I could, you know, just like slip my wrist a little bit and just bleed out in that
With
box.
like what?
My fingers,
Okay.
you know?
I
I
mean,
think that'd be pretty painful though, wouldn't it?
yeah, I think so. I don't know that it'd be as painful as burning alive.
You know what?
But
I think I'm still going to stick with it though. Maybe we don't slip my wrists anymore, but perhaps
Yeah,
I just get buried alive.
I would do the same. I'd do buried alive. I mean, obviously, either one of those would be awful.
Yeah,
But-
I don't want to be burned. I don't want people to hear me scream, you know? I don't want them to like watch me die and think, wow, he's weak, even though there's like 1,000 degrees roasting me from the outside.
Right.
That's not nice. But yeah, we're going to go with buried alive. Okay. So for you, would you rather free swim above the Marianas Trench?
Ew.
Okay.
Okay.
For 5 minutes.
Gross.
Or would you rather live in a like boathouse that's parked right above the Marianas Trench for 7 days?
Boathouse.
You choose
7
the
days.
boathouse?
Yep.
For 7 days?
Did you say butt house?
I didn't say butt house. You said butt house? Why are you talking about butts?
I think it's just, I've been around my children for a while.
So you
For a
would
long time now.
you would choose to be in a boathouse. So not a big one, a small one. And let's just say in this instance, we'll guarantee there's no storm that's going to fucking like capsize your boat.
Sure.
Right? You might get a little big wave here and there, but otherwise
big
you're
one?
fine. Just a little one.
A little big one, though.
Yeah. But you choose that over just a quick 5-minute free swim?
Yep.
Okay.
Because in the house, I'm in a house.
Yeah, but what if there's a big monster in the ocean?
It's going to ignore my house. It ignores all the boats. I choose the butt house.
Okay. I think I would just free swim for 5 minutes.
No thanks.
Like, I don't want to be in the ocean, right? Mm-hmm. But like 5 minutes, the chances that something is going to come by and eat me in 5 minutes are slim to none.
Yeah, no, I have no problems. If I'm in a boat, I'm okay. I could get used to that. No big deal. I'm not going to be in the deep ocean for 5 minutes. I don't want to do that.
Really?
I understand that 7 days is like a fuck ton longer than 5 minutes, but I'm in a boat and I don't have to actually physically be in the water. And so it's worth it to me. But at the same time, one of my bucket list things I want to do before I kick the bucket
Is like scuba dive?
is to be in a shark cage.
Ugh.
I want to do that.
Hard pass.
I really want to do it, actually.
I
Me
don't
and Terry
like that.
already talked about it. At some point, we're going to make a trip down to Australia and do it there.
Oh, you can do it in Australia. That's
Mm-hmm.
probably safer than in Mexico. Because I feel like in Mexico,
Maybe.
anyone can just buy a shark cage and become a shark cage company. You know?
I don't know. Maybe.
I really don't know how it works.
Because in my
don't like that.
mind, for me, the cage, you're surrounded by metal. And so I feel okay. Because that's the thing about open water for me, is that you can literally be attacked from any angle at all. No, I mean,
Usually
if you're
from
on
the bottom.
If you're on the surface, it's not necessarily above you.
Yeah,
But
usually from beneath you.
Yeah.
And usually you cannot see what it is
Mm-hmm.
until it is about 30 inches away from you.
yeah.
Boop, there it is.
Whoomp. There it is.
Yeah.
And I think I should think that you understand me better now, since over the course of the last couple of weeks, I've been overloading your Instagram
You have been trying to give me your phobia.
with thalassophobia
Yeah.
reels and stuff.
It's made me feel uneasy. That's for sure.
They are crazy ones. There was that one,
But-
there was no shark involved in one of them. It was like this weird riptide that took the scuba
Oh my
diver
God,
into
yeah.
the darkness. Oh,
Yeah, I don't
hate
like
it.
that.
Hate it.
I did see a few like thalassophobe things when I was trying to research for this episode. And one, there was like a dude like petting a shark as it was like swimming around him. But like behind him was like in the distance was just like this. You didn't really think twice about it. It was just a dark object.
Uh-huh.
But it was so far away, but it's like slowly getting bigger as it's coming up. And then it cuts away because the person then notices it. It's like, and like, I guess the camera turned off or whatever.
Because it probably was nothing.
Yeah. But that's what's like terrifying to me about that, like in the ocean and shit, is that everything just looks like a shadow. And that's if you notice that shadow, because it's usually so faint.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be talking about some of that today.
Okay. This is more of a fun one.
Okay.
Would you rather stay in the hotel from The Shining
Cool.
or in Dracula's castle?
I don't know.
Because a lot of people would be too scared to do either.
I'm not scared to do either. I wish I could choose both. Probably Dracula's Castle.
In Transylvania. Does that exist anymore? I don't think it does.
No, now it's something else. It's a different country.
Like Romania, maybe?
Something like that. I don't know. I wouldn't know, okay? I don't study geography.
I don't know. It's
don't
fine.
come at me.
It's fine.
I just know Lyle's watching this. Like, you fucking idiot. It's Turkestan or something. So angry at me for not knowing something. Listen, I don't live there and I've never been there. It's not that important to me what it's called.
Also, when was the last time you whipped out a map and was like, let's see what Eastern Europe's up to? And you zoom in. Like, literally, I would almost put my entire savings account down right now that if it wasn't for the whole, like, Russia-Ukraine shit going on, no one would even know where Ukraine was on a map.
A lot of people, I bet.
You know? Like,
listen, I did before all this got started.
obviously.
I know some shit. I don't know all of it.
I'm going to crack open this now.
No one who listens to this podcast lives in Belarus. Probably. Unless they have a VPN that makes it look like they're from
The odds that
some
they
other
live in the
place.
city of Belarus is slim.
City-state, remember?
Look, I don't remember, okay? And I don't care if Belarus thinks it's a country.
It is a country.
It's not a
I said
country.
city-state because that's what I thought it was.
It's not a country. It's a city.
Are you trying to get that little wedge in that tight hole?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Fear Edition. Would you rather Fear Edition?
Yeah.
Definitely Dracula's Castle.
Okay.
I think it'd be a lot cooler. There's so much more history, and I've always wanted to stay the night in a castle.
Overlook Hotel. That's what it was called.
Overlook Hotel is, that's what it was called in the movie. I don't think that's what it's actually called.
No, but apparently that hotel is also supposed to be haunted.
I heard some stuff about that. I tried looking up stories about that for an episode at one point. There just isn't a whole lot. It's a lot of like very vague stuff.
Yeah.
You get more stories out of like the Queen Mary, and I've been there. I didn't see shit.
Yeah, people are also scared of it or whatever. I don't think I buy into it.
I thought it was cool. It's a nice, really big ship. They have
Yeah.
a really cool 4th of July show. That's what I was there for.
Okay. We do got to go to some haunted places.
We super do. There are a whole bunch of them. There's like a Goatman Bridge or something nearby. Does that not sound appealing to
Nope.
you? But
Nope.
it's really close though. So
Like, we'll do it.
I know
But
we
that
are.
doesn't sound good to me.
We're going to do it though.
Like, your Goatman story disgusted me. I hated the
That
Goatman.
story probably wasn't real.
I don't give a shit. That was so gross. And which is why I'm talking about what I'm talking about today, because it's kind of similar and just fucking disgusting.
I think you told me, but I won't give it away.
I mean, it's fine, right? They're listening. I'm talking about skinwalkers.
Skinwalkers, yeah.
Yeah. Gross. Hate it.
Disgusting. Some of the creepiest stories I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Real or not, they're just so creepy.
Yeah. Don't like them. Shit. We spent a lot of time talking about these things.
We're going to have to...
one each.
Okay.
And make it hurt.
I have something absolutely awful, and I'm really sorry that I thought of it.
Whoa. Okay. Go.
Okay. Allow a spider egg sac to burst in your mouth. Or allow some kind of like parasite to lay eggs in your foot. I'm so sorry. It's the spider one for me.
Foot. I can cut it off. I don't need it. I don't need it.
Okay.
I only use it to walk around, right? For nothing else. And you don't need those anymore. You know? Don't need them anymore.
Maybe I do the foot one too.
Get a prosthetic.
Because all I said was you have to let it lay eggs in your foot. As soon as you dip your foot in like bleach or something, you're good.
I hated that.
I'm sorry.
And I hate you.
I'm really sorry.
Okay. Would you rather watch certified terrible snuff films for 5 hours
Ew.
or watch one movie that you know is going to be gruesome. But your brother already bought it for you for your birthday and you own it. Which one?
Hypothetically, the second one.
Okay.
The movie that's gruesome but not real that my brother already bought me hypothetically.
Yeah.
I'd hypothetically watch that.
Okay, that's good to know. Maybe that should be a thing, Jessica.
I don't know what you're implying.
We should watch it.
What?
I don't remember what it was called. It's been so long now. That was like fucking 8 months ago now.
Are you sure you even bought it?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You sure
Are
about
you sure
that?
about that? I'm positive, bitch. I know I bought it. I know you have it.
Haven't seen it in such a long time.
Where did you put it? I forgot when we reorganized the studio, you could have done anything with it and I wouldn't know.
I have no idea where it is.
Where is it?
It's lost.
Come on. It had weird redneck cannibal zombie titties on the back.
I know, but it looked like really gory sex stuff was in store because they got really like porny sounding, but
So-
there was like body parts everywhere.
And from my interpretation, from reading about it and watching the trailer for it, it comes off like a Hills Have Eyes / Wrong Turn
yeah.
was written and directed by the people that made Terrifier.
So 3 movies I didn't like
Yeah.
were all came together and had a little menage a trois to create a movie baby that I will like even less.
Probably. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
We got to watch it.
If we can find it.
Oh my God. It is Memorial Day tomorrow.
I have no idea where it is.
Perfect day for a horror movie.
If only I knew where it had gone.
By the way, we got to watch Evil Dead. Okay, well then, whatever. You all heard it here. Jessica wants to be a pussy. She took the third option.
What's the third option?
Pussy. Bitch.
No, it isn't.
And death by Paul Giamatti penis gargling.
No.
Yep. That's what you wanted.
You want to choke
Sorry.
on his ginger pubes.
Sorry, I don't make the rules, Jess.
You just did.
I don't make the rules.
That wasn't a third option. It's would you rather, and it's one of 2 options. You gave me the option, and hypothetically, I chose this hypothetical movie I would hypothetically watch.
And you're going to hypothetically suffocate on Paul Giamatti's nutsack.
I didn't choose that, so I won't.
He's going to fill his nuts into your mouth.
Fill them. You mean empty?
Yeah, bush and all. And you're going to suffocate. Because your nose holes are going to be covered.
By his pubes.
Yep.
His ginger bush is going to block my nasal passages and my esophagus, is what you're saying.
Yep.
Cool.
You're going to suffocate.
No, I'm not, because I didn't choose that. That's not how the game works. You aren't allowed to cheat. Nope.
It's
Cheater.
them's the rules, Jess. Sorry. Anyway, you're up first. So
That's true.
go for it.
I will.
So what are you talking about for fear?
For fear, I, of course, thought of phobias. There
Right.
are many. We just discussed one that is mine, that I have,
Right?
that I suffer from.
Thalassophobia.
Yes.
That's the fear of the deep, dark waters.
Yes, it is.
Not even deep, dark.
The ocean.
No, because it extends to like crocodiles and lakes and swamps.
It's murky water, but it tends to be a lot of water, not just like a dirty pond. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It doesn't really extend to that.
So like
Mine doesn't.
So
and
like
the definition
thalassophobes.
said ocean.
So thalassophobes could, in theory, watch Creature of the Black Lagoon and feel nothing.
I did watch Creature from the Black Lagoon and felt nothing.
Well, that's because it was done a long time ago.
Also, the Creature from the Black Lagoon. This looks really good in that suit. That's all I'm saying.
You would fuck the Creature of the Black Lagoon.
If I was single,
We got him up
maybe.
there. He's right back there. He's
Bring him
standing.
over here. Bring
He's
him over
standing
here.
in front of the flamingo.
Grab him real quick. So like I said, we're going to talk about phobias. And the first of which will be taphophobia.
Taffa.
Taphophobia.
Okay.
That is the fear of being buried alive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I have an example. That's how this is going to go. I'm going to name a phobia and then give you a story example of that phobia.
So that if you don't have this phobia, hopefully you do now.
And if you do, we can just all share in the feeling of dread that these phobias make us feel.
I love that. You should write that down.
Share in the feeling of dread? Mm-hmm. Let's share the dread.
Yeah, there's like a whole novel series you can write about that.
Probably. Okay. Summer of 1915. We're in South Carolina. 30-year-old Essie Dunbar suffers an attack of the epilepsy kind. She falls to the floor. She stops breathing. Her family freaks out. They call Dr. D.K. Briggs from Blackville to examine her.
This is a sci-fi movie.
No.
No.
It's not. It's a real story. This really happened.
Dr. Briggs is real?
Dr. Briggs.
Okay.
From Blackville. Dr. Briggs declares her dead, and her family, they set about making funeral arrangements. Apparently back in this time, go figure, science, it just was not what it was now. Funeral preparations had to be done very quickly.
So that the body didn't rot.
Yeah, they decompose a lot faster, when you don't have what we have, today.
They get a little stinky.
They get a little musty. So the family wanted to bury her ASAP, but Essie's sister, who she was very close with, lived out of town. So her family schedules the funeral for the next day to give Essie's sister enough time to get there, be present for the funeral. However, morning rolls around. Essie's sister still hasn't arrived. So they begin the funeral without her. They put Essie in a wooden coffin. The ceremony begins, and it's led by 3 preachers. They hoped that because there were 3 instead of 1, the ceremony would go long enough that Essie's sister could make it in time.
Okay. Oh, that's smart. That's smart.
But it was not the case. She did not make it. Finally, cannot hold off any longer. They bury Essie, lower her into her grave. She's covered with dirt, and only a few minutes after filling her grave is done, Essie's sister finally arrives.
Okay.
And she must have been either so pissed or so absolutely heartbroken. She requests that they dig Essie back up for her. She says she wants to see her sister one last time. Please bring her back out so I can see her before she's gone forever. The preachers agree, all 3 of them. Everything gets dug up. They pull the coffin out, unscrew the lid, and as they open it, Essie sits up, and she's fine.
Whoa.
The preachers jump back in shock, end up falling into her grave. They go into a panic. They struggle to get out. One of them was really short, so he got trampled. He broke like 3 ribs.
Yeah.
So people really freaked out. But as it turned out, her epileptic attack slowed her breathing and her heart rate down so much that the Dr. Briggs did not recognize it and pronounced her dead. And she did not wake up until that time when her sister arrived.
Wow.
So they had her coffin sitting out for quite a while. She didn't wake up during that time. And if Essie's sister hadn't arrived when she did, she would have been buried.
So I know that was a legitimate thing back in the day. People were so scared of it that they'd be pronounced dead and buried because you're right, it would happen like that. Like you were buried, within hours of you dying.
Right.
Like it was so fast that people would pay extra money to have a system put in that was essentially in their coffin was a ring attached to a string. And if you follow that string all the way up, there was a bell on the top of the like tombstone or next to the tombstone or whatever.
Right.
So that way, if you weren't dead, you could ring the bell. Someone would hear it and come and dig you out so that you didn't die in a coffin.
I probably mentioned this already. That was the very first episode of Lore. I heard.
Yes.
Well, all right. Essie, by the way, she went on to live like another 47 years.
Oh, wow.
And ironically, she outlived Dr. D.K. Briggs.
Oh, good.
We move on to claustrophobia. I'm sure you're familiar. It is the fear of tight spaces.
I don't really have that.
I get it. I don't really have that either.
Like I can imagine how that could easily develop if you're buried alive.
Right.
I imagine you will have claustrophobia afterwards.
Let me give you a situation.
I don't know how people have that just early on,
I'm going to read you this story example, and then you and I are going to watch a little video.
Oh, fun.
And maybe it awakens something in you.
It will.
Phobia-wise.
Yeah.
Okay. In Nebraska, 2021, a man named Tony Liu and 2 of his friends nearly drowned on a Saturday night in neck-high floodwaters as it filled the elevator they had just become stuck in.
Oh.
Yes. They were in an apartment building, and Tony got video of most of it. Tony and his friends wanted to go outside to get a look at the damage being done by this ongoing storm that involved like hail and flash floods. They ended up stuck in the elevator on the ground floor, just as water rushed in from the lobby. Tony says, once it got to my stomach, We kind of figured, okay, this is real.
Sure.
Seems a little delayed to me.
Yeah.
He says it was like something out of a movie. He was able to record, like I said, himself and his friends fighting to stay above water. It shows him vaping in the elevator just as it jolts, and water rushes in from below and from the closed doors. They managed to pry the door open, luckily, before first responders got there because they did still have cell service. They were able to call 911. But it was during a pretty crazy storm, so the response was not immediate.
Yeah, pretty delayed, I imagine.
They were able to pry the doors open and escape just before being fully submerged. I do have that video. I also have one more.
Wouldn't you just bust open that, like, elevator doors aren't impossible to pry open with your fingers?
I don't know. But that's just it. Like, it was a Saturday night. Maybe they were getting high or something, and it just didn't hit them until right when it got, like, super fucking serious that they need to do something or they're going to die. Like, maybe they...
Or, you know, and I guess I've never really looked up in an elevator, but aren't they supposed to have, like, doors on top?
I don't know. I guess I've never paid attention like they do in movies, but I've never actually looked myself.
We got to call Bruce Willis.
Figure this out. He probably won't remember.
Oh.
I didn't mean that to be mean.
Damn, he's dying. And you said that?
I'm sorry. That's a terrible thing. I'm not trying to make a joke.
You know the Willis family listens.
They don't.
But they could.
They never will.
They won't now.
Okay. Let's see if I can get this video up. Oh, look at that. I can.
All right, let's see. See what you got there. Let's see it. Let's see what you got.
Okay. The sound isn't on. Do you want me to turn it up? Like, will it matter? Should I connect it to the Rodecaster?
I don't think we need sound.
Okay.
We don't need sound.
Well, here you go. So that is the footage they got outside the apartment building. Then they went back into the elevator to head back up to the apartment.
Okay. That's a lot of water.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
It's up to their necks.
Yep. That is high up.
He's standing on the railing on the side.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's no good.
Whoopsies.
That is no good.
And then I have one more video for you. I showed this video to Terry. I found it when I was looking for examples of claustrophobia.
Okay.
Terry took a look at it and he said, yeah, I did that. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Fucking excuse me? Just take a look.
Ooh. Okay. Oh.
Go ahead and describe what you're watching.
So a man, presumably a soldier, is laying down underneath water, maybe, with his rifle and, like, I mean, just squeezing through like a pipe.
Yeah.
Like a Mario and Luigi pipe. He is just, like, forcing his way into it.
A pipe that is basically full of water. There's
like dirty
a
water,
little,
like muddy water.
Dirty, brackish water with a little space at the top for him to breathe. I watched that and I was like, ew, what the fuck? Terry was like, yeah, we had to do that. I'm like, what are you talking about? And apparently it's Marine Corps boot camp. That's just, what they do before they're officially let into the fleet.
But it's because if you're insane mind, right? And you look at that and you say, no, then they know you're not going to be a good Marine, which is why they have to break you down to a shell of a human.
Where you feel nothing and you don't question.
Who wouldn't think twice about that. They were told to, so they're going to do it.
Even the most ridiculous requests.
Yes.
Dang. Crazy. He was like, yeah, every single one of them had to do that.
Yeah. That's why the United States military is so fucking crazy, Jessica.
Yeah.
That's why we are feared by all.
Sure. Well, we're going to move on to one I bet you've never heard of. At least you've never heard the official name.
Okay.
Petiophobia.
Petiophobia.
Petio.
Petio.
With a D.
A D? Mm-hmm. Was it a fear of feet?
No. I thought, knowing you, I thought you were going to say fear of pedophiles. It's not. It's fear of dolls.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you have a fear of dolls?
Yeah.
Because didn't you watch that movie?
I was 4 years old.
Was it Goosebumps?
No, I was 4. And Mom decided that the very first scary movie I would ever watch in my whole life would be at 3 in the morning. And it would be the movie Dolls, which is a horror film for adults, not children.
Yeah. Well, the very first horror movie I ever saw was The Exorcist. So.
You poor baby. No wonder you have so many problems.
Yes.
So, Twilight fans. This one's for you.
That's everybody. You just named everybody in this world.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, you will all recall that the series, book and film, ended with super old vampire Edward having a baby with barely legal Bella.
Oh, mm-hmm.
In the Twilight Saga, Breaking Dawn Part 1, the baby Renesmee. She's portrayed by questionably strange, uncanny valley-like CGI in the movie.
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, she was. It was very weird. Strange choices. But before that, there was an even stranger choice made. Little baby Renesmee was represented by an animatronic doll.
Ew.
With realistic eyes and individually controlled chubby baby fingers.
Why?
I don't know.
Why did they do that?
I don't know what made them decide to do it. But once it was done and they'd already filmed, they decided it was too weird, and the CGI was the better option.
That's a whole thing.
Uh-huh.
I bet they spent so much fucking money. Everything else in the movie is CGI. Why not a fucking baby?
I have pictures here for you.
What the shit, dude?
It looks like they put a chubby baby mouth on a fully matured dwarf woman.
Oh, no.
It's so bad.
Oh, no. Is that a real shot from the movie?
Yes.
Oh, God. Sorry. What the fuck?
Isn't it gross?
She looks like a 40-year-old woman.
So what they were trying to do is they were
God.
like, no, she's a special little baby. She's half vampire. So she ages quickly. But it just made them make some very weird decisions based off of deciding how she was going to look. Well, anyway, Breaking Dawn was released in 2011.
Yeah.
So
sure.
time and having been made by very poor quality materials when the movie was being filmed have caused what people are now calling Chuck-esme to decay quickly and severely, despite being enclosed in a display case in the Twilight Museum. Yeah, employees report they often find her in strange positions despite no one ever being present to move her. And here's what she looks like today.
Yeah, I saw it.
For you?
Awesome.
Did you get a good look at that one?
Chuck-esme. Oh, look at her fat little face, dude.
It's okay. We're going to put these pictures on social media so you guys can get a look at yourselves.
Seeing shit like that brings up one of my worst fears.
Which was?
That I'm going to have an ugly baby.
That's a fear?
Yes.
Your baby's going to be fine. Jacob, you were born questionable looking.
Look, I'm not talking about right away, right? I was ugly as shit until about a year, okay? And then something changed and I ripened and I was just this cute ass little baby now.
All babies are beautiful.
No, that is a fucking lie. That is propaganda.
Babies
right there.
are cute.
A lot of babies are ugly as shit. And I don't care if they're ugly as shit then. It's just what if my kid's ugly, you know? What if I see my kid and I'm like, oh, gonna have a rough time getting a prom date, you know?
You can't know that early.
But
when they come out, they're like weird fleshy puppets.
If my child looked like that,
yeah,
you are not going to be able to get a prom date.
Well, when Ryan was born, he looked like a weird, swollen, purple version of Kermit the Frog. He was long and lanky, but weird and fleshy baby looking. He was a strange looking baby for a while there. He was.
I've been sitting here. Trying to think of a Kermit the Frog voice and try so that I could say something really creepy about something Ryan would say as a baby or think as a baby.
Yeah.
You're like, oh.
Is that your best Kermit the Frog?
Can I get some
Hey, could I
get some titty juice?
Okay. Well, good try. Good try.
I knew it wasn't going to be good, Jessica.
I'm just saying. You did a good job anyway, though.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to talk about nyctophobia. Yes, it is the fear of the dark.
Okay.
It's spelled Nycto, phobia.
Nyctophobia.
Yeah, I've never heard of it called that before. Obviously, everyone knows about being afraid of the dark. I didn't know that's what it was called. But here is the story example. And it's a nice little segue into the very last phobia I'm going to talk about, which is thalassophobia.
Okay, perfect.
And it's from someone's perspective. They tell a story told to them by their father. Here we go. Dad used to be an abalone diver as a young man in Victoria. Money by the bag, if you wanted it enough. Though half the guys that do it act like they're on cocaine most of the time from all the nitrogen in their blood.
Love that.
So it's a dangerous game. You can really only play for so long. There's one story he told me once. And only when he got drunk, it was his 50th birthday, about an encounter he had whilst diving with a mate. A foreigner.
Okay.
The water down that part of Australia is thick and black and cold. The kelp is so thick that some people get lost in it, get their breather hoses tangled.
Yikes.
More often than you'd think, they just disappear. Anyway, he's diving off of a shelf face at about 90 meters deep. It's completely black. He said you would just pull yourself along the face, grabbing abalone by feel. Abalone, by the way.
Oh, what the fuck is an abalone?
It's a specific kind of shell, and it's that like kind of rainbowy, silvery material they make into jewelry. And they put it on like the faces of like antique jewelry boxes and stuff.
Okay.
I can show you pictures later on. Yes, it's valuable.
Okay.
Anyway, so he's moving along feeling for these shells because that's the only way he can find them. It's too dark to see.
No flashlights around? They make underwater flashlights.
That's not what he's using. The pressure is enormous, and there are great whites swimming around with their mouths open, and they regularly attack divers or they cut air hoses, which by the time you realize one's close by, you're dead. So he's making his way along this shelf. He's collecting, and then he feels a nudge on his back. His mate and him always worked in close tandem, so he just assumed it was him, reached out to pull him closer. But as soon as his hand touched it, it smashed into him, pushed him out of the way, and its tail, big, great white tail, wrapped around the air hose, which ripped off the connector to Dad's mask. So he immediately got his little pen light, which he kept on his dive belt for checking cuts, which were bad to get when there's NOAAs around. I assume that's Australian slang for great white shark. He sees the end of the hose a few meters away, spewing bubbles. The thing that gives me the chills is the way he described that in the inky darkness 90 meters deep down, he could see nothing but the reflection of the bubbles from the hose and the dark, lifeless eyes of the great white behind it. That's it.
I didn't like that.
He said his father absolutely never went diving ever again.
Why are they so close to a wall?
I don't know. The sharks can't see either, right?
I don't know. I figured they could see better.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah, no. Not a fan. Not a fan of that. And now we're going to talk about more stuff like that. Because now it's thalassophobia time. Fear of the ocean. Bless you. Let's try that one more time. Take two.
That was actually like a burp that like choked me.
Don't you love those? They're always so incredibly timed. Our first thalassophobia story example. I have family who sailed around the world. One day in the North Atlantic, their sailboat was going over some gigantic swells. But they didn't break at the top, so it was safe enough. But the boat was rising and falling way beyond the neutral, so it's crazy high swells down to crazy low swells. At the bottom of a trough, a low swell, my uncle looked up to see the sun behind a wave and the silhouette of a whale inside above him.
Whoa.
Wild, right?
Coming down on you? A fucking whale?
If the water shifts any crazy way, yeah, that whale is slamming on top of the boat. Ugh. I hated that one.
Okay. I mean, that wasn't so bad, but
just the image. Like the mental imagery of that. Gross.
Yeah.
Next. A tentacle came up out of the water and hit the side of the craft.
Nope, I'm done.
Once, twice, 3 times. Biggest fucking tentacle I'd ever seen in my life. At least 20 feet long. Just thwack, thwack, thwack. And then it was gone. No time to react or do anything. Just me on the deck thinking, what the fuck? And then standing perfectly still for 5 minutes, wondering if what I had just seen or thought I saw was real. If it was, whether that thing was going to come back. A mixture of terror and disbelief that this boggled me into this paralysis. I raised sails. I got the fuck out of there right quick. Once I finally came to my senses, but holy hell, that's one story I don't tell anyone in real life ever. Because it's too unbelievable. Even as a fish story, no one would pretend to buy it. So what was it? I don't know. I don't really want to know. I just don't want it to ever happen again.
Nope. I hate that.
Yeah. Ew.
That's gross.
All right. Next. The sea is a vast and seemingly empty place. Many fail to grasp this when asking questions like, how can you just lose an airplane in the ocean? Anyway, I found myself on my ship somewhere in the vast expanses of the South Pacific Ocean. We'd been cautiously avoiding big storms, which I knew to be all around us. Just out further than the eye could see, although our local ocean area was calm and peaceful. I was on watch when I noticed something out there in the distance, just bobbing along. I'd never seen it before, especially not this far from land. As I got closer, I identified what was clearly a makeshift raft, made from lashed-together bamboo with a snapped mast and an empty cooler moored to the deck, so tied down. Upon this raft, not a soul. The chances of coming across a raft to begin with are small enough in this part of the ocean. We're way out there. Thinking about the person who'd sailed this raft, why they sailed, what happened to them, that's what creeps me out.
Yeah, they're dead.
They dead. They're gone.
Mm-hmm.
We only got 3 more, and they're shorties.
Okay.
Here we go. I was working on a car carrier 4 years ago in the Middle East. Our typical route went through pirate waters. And so we always picked up 4 ex-Marines as security in Aqaba, Jordan, before we went.
Nice.
One night, while we were going through pirate waters off of Yemen, we started to have problems with our main engine, so we stopped, had to drift for a bit to figure out what the problem was. During this time, I was working on the stern. That's the back end of the vessel. I couldn't really see anything out in the ocean. Everything was dimly lit on the ship. And I really don't know why I did it, but I got bored, so I turned the spotlight on. And there he was. This guy with a gun in a rusted little boat, staring me down about 15 feet from the ship. I just stared back at him, kind of stunned. I was afraid if I reached for the radio to call one of the Marines, he'd shoot me. The Marines obviously had weapons. He'd probably know that. So he looked at me, and I looked at him, and he sort of gave me a nod, like he was telling me, well played. I nodded back. Then he slowly rowed his boat back off into the deep, pitch-black night. I didn't know how many others there were. I did call it in the radio, though. I just waited until I lost sight of him to do it first.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, it's just the finding a face when you didn't expect to find anything at all.
Yeah, I would hate that.
Gross.
I probably would have shit right then and there. Just dropped big ol' shit.
Ew, yucky. Next. My uncle runs a charter fishing boat. He loves telling the story about how he was out in the ocean on his boat at night, and there was this beautiful woman floating around in a raft, unconscious. He and my cousin pulled her aboard. She began to regain consciousness, and she was very drunk. Apparently, she ended up being she had been on a party boat earlier, and I guess everyone just thought she was really annoying. So they put her on the raft and sent her off after she passed out.
Whoa.
That's murder.
I mean,
That's what murder is.
But was it over international waters?
I don't know.
Because can you still be tried for that?
I have no idea.
I don't know how law works when it comes to that type of shit.
That's fucked up.
Dude, there's no way that's real. There's no way that's what happened.
I have no idea. I don't know.
Fuck, can you imagine?
Maybe, I mean, she was also drunk.
Can you
maybe
imagine
she untied the raft and fell asleep in it after
partying
it
and
floated
having
away.
a great time, only to find out that everyone hated you and tried to kill you?
Yeah. Sounds like something that would happen
Yikes.
in It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
Last one. I was sailing a small sunfish around an island near Florida in shallow water. As I cruised along, suddenly a large section of water directly in front of my bow exploded with a large splash. Immediately afterward, my boat rammed into something under the surface and came to a complete stop. My first thought, I've hit a reef.
Yep.
But suddenly the entire boat lifted up and spun around 90 degrees, almost dumping me into the water. Then there was another big splash, and I saw something zoom away, leaving a huge wake behind it. And I was just left there, freaked out and shaking. Then I thought to myself, I must have hit a big dolphin or a manatee. Lots of dolphins around here, so I finished my sail and went home. When I got to the beach, I pulled up the center board and found a nice surprise. A 2-inch chunk had been completely bitten out of the bottom. You could clearly see the marks of 3 large teeth. I'm really happy I didn't fall out of my boat that day.
Yeah, that was probably like a giant squid or some shit.
Something fucking medieval and awful.
You ever read about giant squid stories?
Stories? Mm-hmm. No. I just hear about people seeing them. I don't think I've ever seen an encounter.
Technically, I don't think we even knew that they for sure existed until like a few years ago was like absolutely confirmed. Before then, it was just stories, dude. Like building-sized squid. Like their arms are longer than ships' squid. Yeah.
Do you listen to Joe Rogan every now and then?
Not really. I see clips here and there.
Okay, same. I happened to see one. I don't remember what his job was. It was some guy who works like on the ocean floor. Like those oil rig mechanic type guys.
You couldn't pay me enough.
I don't know what exactly he did, but for whatever reason, he and like 2 other dudes had to like sleep down there. They had a little vessel they had down there. And because it like helped him get used to the pressure or something, when you needed to take a shit or piss, you would just swim out of the shelter into the water and do it there.
No thanks.
He said that they had like it was like a little bell-shaped thing down at the bottom on the seafloor, and that you would pop up in it so that you could breathe while you were shitting, and then just pull your pants down and shit in the water, and it would just float away from you, and then you'd go back in and you clean yourself up. That was how you did it.
Nope.
Or clean yourself up out there, I guess, because you're literally in the water. And so he was like, I had to go, and it was like, it's pitch black down there. You can't see shit. He's like, so I do my thing. I go out there. I'm in the bell. I take my shit. And that the bell got bumped by something.
Nope.
And so he turns on a light and he looks. He's like, and I see an eye looking at me, and it's like this big. As big as his face. And apparently there's like something called like a grouper fish or something. It's like a really fucking huge, massive fish that would probably fill up the whole room. And it was down there with him, watching him like, squeeze out a steamer.
He's probably going to eat it. It's probably like, ooh.
Yummy.
Snack time. Yeah, that's disgusting. I hate that. I hate the deep ocean. I'll swim on the surface of it.
I won't.
I don't want to.
I will not.
But I'll do it.
I won't do that.
Well, anyway, it is time for the break. I really do have to pee.
Okay.
So I'm going to go pee, not in a bell, just in a toilet.
Just a regular toilet.
Yeah. Although you guys keep leaving that like fucking window open and it's really creepy.
What do you mean?
When I go to pee and it's like pitch black outside.
It's just my backyard.
Yeah, I know. But like, what if like some creeper is in the backyard?
Got like a pervy neighbor who likes to watch you take a leak.
Yeah. He's like, oh, Jake's here. I know he pees. I'm going to go look at his
You've
wiener.
peed in the backyard during nighttime though.
Yeah, but I was like really drunk.
Yeah.
And I can see outside. I had the bathroom light on, so I can't see outside.
So just turn the bathroom light off.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. We'll try that.
Okay. All right. We'll see you guys after the break. Fear.
Gosh. So many fears.
It's a lot of stuff to be afraid of in the world. Like products of poor quality and high cost.
That's my biggest fear.
Jacob, I've got great news for you. A way for you to overcome your fears.
Well, how would I do that?
Our sponsors! That's right. Tilted Tinker, Woodcraft and Wizardry. They are a company that makes woodcraft products.
Like plaques with all sorts of hilarious sayings and coasters with sarcastic twists.
All of that dry humor is mixed in with Dungeons and Dragons accessories like dice towers, dice dungeons, and DM screens.
Everything is made here in the USA.
Yes, a family-owned business. They use American wood in American hands.
Nice.
They personally create all of their merchandise.
Yes, they are close friends of ours, but that's the most that we'll say. It could be anyone, but they're fantastic.
We own many of their products.
That's true. All of them are of great quality.
The greatest. You can visit their website at tiltedtinker.com. Reach out to them at info@tiltedtinker.com. They are Tilted Tinker on all their social medias.
That's Tilted, Tinker. Did I tell you that I went to Target the other day?
I think you did.
Dude, it was the best experience of shopping that I've ever done. So I go to Target. Dani needed me to pick up a couple of things. And instead of going to Walmart, I was like, you know what? Target's right there. I haven't been to Target in like a long ass time. Let me just go to Target. So I go in. First of all, there's like ample parking, right? And I was like, oh my God. Target has all this parking.
So weird. How come no one's here?
7 p.m. Like, how fucking cool is that? And so I just park right in the front. You know, I feel all good about it. I walk inside. Everything, like, there's all the carts are just perfectly there. You know, there was someone there who like was like, here. And they pulled a cart out and they like cleaned like the handle for me. They're like, here you go. Thanks for coming to Target. And I was like, oh my God, you're so welcome. And, you know, I just kept walking around this and I was walking and like, everything was like super clean. And like, I mean, normally you see people like folding clothes that someone fucked up.
Yeah.
Not the case. Everything was just immaculate.
Untouched even.
Untouched. And it was perfect. And it was like, I mean, it kind of got a little annoying because, you know, all the Target employees kept being like, hi, like, how are you?
Do you need anything?
Yeah, do you need me to help you with anything? And I was like, no, I'm good. Thanks. You know, just kept doing my thing. And I mean, there was like no one there. I only saw like a handful of people. This has been the greatest Target run of my life. Maybe I'll come to Target more often. I don't know.
Okay.
And so I go home and Dani was like, oh, you went to Target? And I was like, yeah. She's like, oh.
I didn't think you'd do that.
She's like, I didn't think you would go to Target. I was like, the fuck you mean? It's just Target. Apparently people are boycotting Target. I had no idea.
Yes.
Target apparently did some questionable things with some of their product lines.
Odd choices.
And people got really upset and stopped going to Target. And dude, I will only go to Target right now. It was the most hassle-free fucking like experience I've had in shopping ever.
Yeah.
You know, and like whether I support what they do or not, my, you know, $40 purchase isn't going to make or break the bank.
Right.
So
that's true. That's true.
It's kind of nice.
If I recall, you took advantage of the boycott of SeaWorld.
Oh, I did.
Right after Blackfish came out.
I did.
That is a documentary that showcases certain things that went on in SeaWorld that people weren't, you know, they weren't fans of.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I remember everyone like the SeaWorld stocks were just going like plummeting. And I was like, oh, dope. And so we bought like super cheap discounted tickets to SeaWorld. We went, we made it to every single show, every single ride. There were no lines anywhere. It was essentially like every time we would walk up to like order food or a drink or something, like we were being like catered to. It was
treated
awesome.
like kings.
Yeah, we're sitting there watching Shamu, obviously, and there was probably like 20 people there. It was great. It was the best experience at SeaWorld that I think anyone has ever had.
Yeah.
I love it when companies, do terrible things and everyone shouldn't shop there or something. Because I just have the best time when they do that.
You take advantage. What's that quote? Did you ever see The Wedding Singer?
No.
Oh, then never mind. There's a guy in it who Adam Sandler is having a mental breakdown on stage. So he's singing a song and he like starts screaming and then cries and runs away. And there's this guy who comes on stage. He's watching him from the side and he goes, he's losing his mind and I'm reaping all the benefits. You're like that.
Yeah, that's exactly. Like when like people are on strike and like other people go and take their jobs for like double the pay.
Yes.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Well, great. Great, Jacob.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had such a good time at Target the other day.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll be back. Dude, Dani has been such a shit ever since she's been pregnant. She's been so fucking needy. Everything makes her cry. She cried when I was leaving today to come record. She was like, can't you just like cancel? And I was like, well, no. I'm like, number one, I can't. Number two, I won't. I want to go record. So I'm going to go do that. And she was like, oh. Like she started like choking up and started like,
she just come here?
I don't know. Dude, she can't leave the couch. She's been laying on the couch for like ever. Yeah.
Is she still all sick?
Yeah. She's still throwing up.
Poor Dani.
Like the only thing she's eating, and I was so mad about it. It was like 1 a.m. and she was like, hey, babe. I was like, fuck, what do you want? Like, I really want some mac and cheese. And I was like, okay, well, I'm sure we have mac and cheese. You watch kids all the time. And so hold on, I say this, she says nothing. So I get up, go to the kitchen, and I find 3 different brands of mac and cheese. Okay. I'm like, hey.
That's wonderful.
This is what we have.
A lot of options.
Which one do you want? I will cook it for you right now. She's like, I don't want those. It's like, then you don't want mac and cheese? I want Stouffer's mac and cheese.
What?
I was like, you want Stouffer's mac and cheese? She's like, yeah. And I was like, well, I can't buy that for you because everything is closed. It is 1 a.m. So you either have this or you have nothing. 7-Eleven is open, though. Like, you want me to go to 7-Eleven in the hopes that they have microwavable Stouffer's mac and cheese? Yeah. I was like, fuck, whatever. Like, will you shut up if I do that?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah. And so I was like, okay, I go. Dude, it was like $7 for a little microwavable Stouffer's mac and cheese at 7-Eleven.
You got to go back to sleep, right?
So I fucking bought it, fucking made it for her. She ate it, whatever. And then now has since like placed orders at Walmart for pickup. And I'm like, babe, can you go do a pickup? And it's just like 8 things of Stouffer's mac and cheese. It's all she's been eating. She doesn't want the actual like cook on the stovetop mac and cheese. She wants
scratch mac and
microwavable mac and cheese. So,
well, that's your little devil spawn inside her.
No, baby cravings aren't even a thing at 7 weeks. That's not even supposed to start until like 10 or 12 weeks.
Well, maybe it's an adorable little placebo. Maybe she can't wait to feel all the pregnancy symptoms, so she's manifesting them early.
And then apparently today, while what was I doing? I was doing something. She was like super nauseous or whatever, and her and mom were watching How to Get Away with Murder. Okay? And one of the characters went to prison.
Is this a fictional show?
Yes.
Oh.
One of the characters went to prison or jail and was given like a jail sandwich. And Dani was like, stopped it and was like, I want that. And so mom made her a sandwich, Jess. 2 pieces of bread,
Yeah.
a slice of meat,
Okay.
and a slice of cheese cut diagonally. That's what she wanted.
All right.
And that was what she ate. She doesn't eat anything else because anything else is disgusting and she'll throw it up. But she wanted a jail sandwich.
Okay. I mean, that's simple and easy to do,
Yeah, but what if we didn't have that?
but you did.
What if we didn't? But what if we didn't?
But it's so easy to get.
She sees things on TV and is like dying for them. We were watching fucking 1,000-Pound Sisters and someone was eating cheese puffs and she would not shut the fuck up about cheese puffs. I'm like, dude, we don't have cheese puffs, Dani. She's like, but like maybe we can get some. I'm like, why? So you can eat 3 of them and then never touch them again?
Yes.
We don't like cheese puffs. We never eat cheese puffs.
But you got him. Did she eat him?
No, we forced her to continue watching TV
Until she saw something you had in the kitchen?
until, we were like, every time you see food, hyper-focus on it because maybe we have it. And it worked. It worked.
Well, good.
So that was fine. But yeah, no, not chill. Do you like getting drunk?
Yeah?
Yeah. Like getting
Sure.
really drunk. Like absolutely hammered beyond repair.
No, I don't like that.
Why not, Jess?
Because it makes me cry. And I don't like feeling queasy.
Okay, but why else not?
I sweat.
Okay, stop. But like, because maybe the morning after.
Oh, I see. Well, me and Terry might have a little oopsie and then go to the store and get a what?
What are we talking about?
Are we?
I'm not talking about the morning after pill, Jessica.
Neither was I.
Jesus Christ.
Neither was I. I was talking about going and getting some party patches for the very next time we get drunk because we learned our lesson the first time.
That's right. You slap a party patch right on your arm. You drink and drink and drink. And the next day you awaken feeling awesome.
Yes, you feel incredible. It's a stinky little patch, but that's because of all the vitamins.
Yeah, it's healthy.
Yes.
Healthy stinks sometimes. Go to our website, 3shotsin.com. You'll find the link that'll take you to that party patch to buy yourself some party patches for the next time you get drunk. Maybe you have a bachelor party, a bachelorette party coming up. Maybe you got an office Christmas party and everyone just wants to get fucking hammered.
And following that link supports the podcast.
It does. You can use promo code 3ShotsIn for an additional 10% off there.
Thank you, guys.
You guys are the best.
Jacob,
Yeah.
when you get a new bottle of liquor, isn't it such a great feeling to open that bottle for the first time and pour it into your glass?
Nothing feels better.
How much would you like to be able to pour more?
Enough to go to 3shotsin.com and click a link.
I have great news for you then.
Yeah?
Yes, because there is a link there that will take you to the Pour More website, a subscription-based service where you get a new bottle of liquor every single month.
That's right. And if I recall, you can choose between different kinds of liquor. Mm-hmm. You're a whiskey dude, get your whiskey. You're a scotch gal, get your scotch. You're a tequila freak. Go ahead and order that tequila. Go to 3shotsin.com, click that link, get yourself that subscription service. Maybe you give it as a gift to someone. Maybe you love someone enough to give them the gift of liquor every month.
What a wonderful gift that is. Enjoy. Hey, so the LSD episode, the episode I talked about LSD,
Yeah.
but the topic was high. Dad was on and all that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of discussions going on. And I had mentioned watching a video where they gave LSD to British troops during World War II.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't actually get a chance to watch it, but I've got it right here.
Oh, okay.
And I would just love for you to see it.
I would love to see it.
Well, here it is.
Oh, Space Cadet.
The drug was administered in a drink of water given at the start of each day's exercise. 25 minutes later, the first effects of the drug became apparent. The men began to relax and to giggle. But this man was more seriously affected and had to be removed from the exercise. After 35 minutes, one of the radio operators had become incapable of using his set, and the efficiency of the rocket launcher team was also very impaired.
Whoops.
10 minutes later, the attacking section had lost all sense of urgency. Notice the bunching and indecision as they enter a wood occupied by the enemy. Almost immediately, the section commander tried to use a map to find the location of troop headquarters, and a prisoner's escort had to have the way pointed out to him, although it was in plain sight, 700 yards away over open country. 50 minutes after taking the drug, radio communication had become difficult, if not impossible, but the men are still capable of sustained physical effort. However, constructive action was still attempted by those retaining a sense of responsibility in spite of physical symptoms. But 1 hour and 10 minutes after taking the drug, with one man climbing a tree to feed the birds, the troop commander gave up, admitting that he could no longer control himself or his men.
Dude, they're high out of their fucking minds.
Yeah.
The break is over.
Yes. And now it's time to spin the wheel, and I'm going to spin it.
Do it. All right. You're performing on stage in front of the America's Got Talent judges. What do you perform? So you can do anything, right? It's America's Got Talent. Mm-hmm. Now, you don't need to get all the yeses,
Yeah.
but like ideally you don't get all the X's. What do you do?
I kind of want to get all X's.
Okay.
But listen, I could do the obvious thing because I'm so talented and sing for them. I could do that and I'd probably win. But why do that? You know, I don't want to be a singer. Don't make me sing.
I don't want to sing.
I don't want to sing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show them and the whole world the talent I have that I have not seen anyone else do.
No.
I'm going to do it, Jacob.
No.
The world needs to know.
No, everyone hates it when you do it.
They don't hate it. They are in awe. They're fascinated. I would do my in and out floopy lip thing.
I hate the floopy lip thing. I knew exactly what you were saying.
Allow me.
Do it. It's fine.
Why do you hate it so much?
I hate it.
You hate it because you can't do it.
Do it.
Do it.
I can.
Try. You're jealous of me. You've always been jealous of me. You did it. Look at you.
Almost. I can't do it. Wait, your lips should not move that fast.
We could do like a zoom in. I'm going to edit this later.
Okay, look directly into this camera. God.
Oh, that's what I would do. And I'd get 3 X's, but everyone in America would be fascinated by me.
That's it? You just stand up on stage and just do that?
That's all.
Stare at the camera?
Until I would do it without stopping until I got 3 X's.
That's admirable, although I can give you that.
Thank you. What would you do?
Well, you know, just like you, I don't want to be a singer. You know, I don't want to be a dancer. Clearly, I'm great at these things.
Dancing?
Yeah.
Oh.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Actually, when we were at the last wedding that we were at,
Right.
I noticed that every time I was dancing, the videographers would come to me.
Really? Mm-hmm. Whoa.
I know.
All right.
I know.
You sure it had nothing to do with Dani dancing all up on you with her big old butt?
No, it was me.
Oh.
They were looking at me.
Oh.
Doing my moves.
All right. Of
on
course.
the floor.
But you're saying you wouldn't do that for the judges?
No, because it's been done before. I think what I would do is I would not go for all the X's, but I would go for one X. I would target one judge and just roast them comedically.
Of course.
Roast the shit out of them. Obviously, you know, you want to pick on someone who is going to get, like, who's going to show their anger on their face, like Simon Cowell, right? Or like Mel B. She used to be on there. I would have roasted the shit out of Mel B. But she's not there anymore. So, like, let's just say it's Simon. I just lean into Simon. Like, I research him. I say shit that only he fucking hears. But everyone else is laughing, right? So Simon hits his ex because he's fucking mad. But everyone else wants to hear it. So they just let it go. Doesn't mean I go through. They just wanted to hear shit talk about Simon. But that's what I would do. And I'd be known as the guy that Simon Cowell hates. And I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. That'd be fun. You and I kind of went a similar route. Yeah. We went for notoriety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like, dude, those are the only people from America's Got Talent that I even know. Are the ones that were like either terrible people or terrible performers. Mm. They're the only ones we care for.
Well, that's where the real fame is.
That it is.
It's not in attempting to win. It's in doing so poorly, everyone remembers you for it. That's where the gold is.
Eccentric. All right. Well, that answers that. And now we move on to more fear.
I love fear.
Now, I know this, I would say this isn't like a very like common fear because a lot of people don't know about this.
Okay.
You do, obviously, but skinwalkers. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things that sounds like bullshit and you don't really believe it. But every single time it's brought up around like legitimate Native Americans,
yes,
they like shun it.
Shun.
Like shun. Just shun that shit.
Right.
And that caught my attention.
Okay.
So I found some stories. Most of these take place on a Navajo reservation. Mm-hmm. And they're creepy and gross. And if you don't know what a skinwalker is, a skinwalker would be
a cryptid.
Almost like a demon.
Yeah.
That takes the shape of an animal or a person.
It takes the form of something it's not.
With the intent to lure people to it.
It pretends to be other things.
Yeah. And it's gross.
It's gross.
My father owns a small delivery service that operates out of Farmington, New Mexico. We mostly deliver small packages out in the middle of nowhere that are too much of a hassle for the larger delivery companies to deliver. My dad is the only employee. We have a few pickup trucks and a trailer. One day, we got a delivery that was out to Window Rock, Arizona on the Navajo Reservation, about 2 hours from Farmington. My dad gets the call for the job while he is chilling with his Navajo friend, Travis, and Travis's girlfriend. Now, Travis mentions how he's got family out in Window Rock and he hasn't seen them in a while, and he offers to go with them. They accept. Now, at the time, I was 6 or 7, and it was the summertime, so Dad decided, fuck it, we'll go down together. We can do the delivery really quick, and then we can hang out with Travis while he visits his family and check out what Window Rock has to offer. Apparently, there was a big rock face there. That's why it's called Window Rock. There's a big rock with like a giant hole in the middle that you can like see through.
Okay.
Like out to the other side. We had to convoy in separate trucks since Dad was loaded down with freight. we decided to bring along some walkie-talkies so that we can communicate with one another. We spend our time in Window Rock. Everything is uneventful. We start heading home along the old highway with my dad and I in the front and Travis and his girlfriend in their truck behind us. Now, he says that he doesn't remember most of what happened on the trip. He was pretty young. But the next part, he definitely remembers.
Okay.
So we're somewhere on the highway between Window Rock and Gallup, both cities in New Mexico. And it had rained earlier in the day. The road was kind of slick. So they were driving pretty slow as to not, have an accident. Mm-hmm. On the left of the highway, there's nothing but sandstone, cliffs, and on the right was just a huge field that was separated from the road by just like this little barbed wire fence. Not uncommon to see when you're driving in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
His dad calls over the radio, says, "Hey, Travis, do you see that big-ass dog?" I skipped a part. Dad saw a dog in the road.
Oh.
Saw what appeared to be a very big dog that was sitting back on its haunches in the middle of the road.
Okay.
So he radios over to Travis and says, "You see that big-ass dog?" Travis starts screaming back over the radio, "That is not a dog. Speed up right now. Hit it."
Oh, my God.
He said that he kept screaming, "Hit it, hit it. Don't think. Speed up right now and hit that thing. Hit that thing. That's not a dog. Hit it." Dad's freaking out. Then Travis keeps going. "You have to hit it. Please hit that fucking thing right now." Dad's freaking out. He speeds up as they get closer, and they begin to see it a little more clearly. He said that this dog is covered in a brown, wiry, matted hair, so it's fur, right? But appears to have dried blood all over it. It's sitting in the road facing the cliffs, so not looking at them. As they're driving up, their headlights are now on it, and it turns to them, and he sees a face
Ew.
on this dog. What should be a dog's face is a regular face. Now, he described it as a mix between a bear's and a human's face. He said it was twisted, distorted, and it looked like it was maybe in pain. As they got closer to it, they realized that it's actually massive. He said that even though it was sitting on its haunches, that it was about shoulder height with the hood of the truck.
Yuck.
So they're still driving towards it. He said they were literally inches from hitting it when it lets out this like wild fucking scream, and it leaps backwards towards the field. So it completely dodges the truck. Now towards the field, remember with the barbed wire fence?
Yeah.
So leaped backwards, somehow just like backwardly jumped over this barbed wire fence and darts and is gone.
Ew.
Travis called them on the radio again and said, "Holy shit, keep driving. We have to get out of here. Go faster." He said that's all he really remembers. And then
The guy telling the story because he was so young.
he was so young, but
Yeah.
he said that later on that Travis had talked to his dad had told him that Travis was freaking out asking, "Did it see your face? Did it see your face?"
Ew.
And they were like, "Well, I don't think so. Like, we were in the truck and the headlights were on." And he was like freaking out, like, okay. And that like relaxed him that it didn't see their face. Not as important to this story, but very important in the coming stories.
Oh.
So as I was reading a lot of these, I realized, obviously, I don't know a lot about skinwalkers and the whole thing going on, but these are all random Redditors posting.
Yeah.
And usually, like, it's sure they could use one story to help their story if they were to write a fake one, but I don't think that's what's happening. And it kind of sounds like there's a lot mixed in that makes it more true. There are little things, little details that they have in their stories
Okay.
that add to them.
Such as?
Well, okay. So this next one. So, as many of you might already know, many Navajo people, including my family, are very reluctant to speak about skinwalkers because it's believed to attract their attention. It says, well, I, however, grew up away from the Navajo Nation, and I was very naive about the subject. When it came to skinwalkers, I was a skeptic. My mom used to tell a story of how back in the 80s, when she lived with her siblings and my grandparents, about how she and my aunt saw a skinwalker just outside their driveway under a streetlight. She said that she described it as a black dog with dirty fur, a twisted, noodle-like front leg, and unnatural eyes with a soft, burnt orange glow.
Ew.
He didn't believe her. He was like, yeah, whatever, you were a kid.
Maybe it was just, a regular dog that had been injured or something.
Maybe with glowing brown or glowing orange eyes or something.
No, he said unnatural eyes, and it had an orange glow. I thought that was the whole body.
He's talking about the eyes.
Oh, okay.
Had an orange glow. So he said that his doubts have changed recently. So he went to visit his grandparents, and him and his family had... Sorry, we're just going to go back to first person because that's easier for me. Okay. Me and my family had just finished a carnival out at the Navajo Nation Fair. The house was close enough where we could walk home just 10 minutes away from the fair. When we got there, it was about 9 o'clock at night. We stayed up until about 2, catching up, talking about family and whatnot. It was during that time that I decidedly opened my mouth and blurted out the question, hey, are skinwalkers real? He got a lot of silence and a lot of glares until his grandma said, you shouldn't be speaking about that. And he said that he had never heard her sound so angry in a disturbed way. So she and my grandfather decided to go to bed. After being scolded by my mom, one of my aunts chimes in with a very cautious tone and says they're real, that she had a few screaming outside of her trailer in Farmington just a few nights ago. She said your cousin had nightmares the whole night and woke up crying that morning. Not wanting to push with any discomfort anymore, they all decided to go to bed. Now, they were in a trailer home. It was pretty old. He said it was really nice of night. It was very cool temperature and whatnot. So they slept with their windows open. They had screens, but the windows were open.
Sure.
He said everyone drifted off to sleep except for me, because my mind was still going a million miles a minute about skinwalkers. And I wondered if I ever encounter one while I was here on the reservation, what would I see? He says that's when things were not so chill. Just as I was settling and finally getting relaxed for sleep, I started to hear something moving outside. I got up from the couch, started wandering over to the kitchen window. In the trailer, all of the rooms have the lights out, so the only visible light that you can see is from the porch light. He said that he was thankful for this, obviously, because now nothing can see inside, but he could see outside. Mm-hmm. From the porch light, all I can see is the dusty ground and the vehicles that my family drove, along with some old metal trash cans that stood outside beside the road. Looking for about a good 5 seconds, I wasn't able to see anything, so I was getting ready to turn around and walk back to bed, except I took 2 steps away, and I hear what sounds like a distorted scream coming from outside. Definitely very close by. Scared the shit out of him. He looks outside again, and he sees it. A coyote-like figure was staring at his direction from behind the cars. Ew. He said it was just outside of reach of the porch light. Only it looked wrong. He said that this did not look right, and that if he had to put a word for it, he would say evil. He said it was gray, with very disheveled hair, and a horrific orange-red soft glow from its eyes. He immediately ran back away from the window to the bedroom, and he said that's when he noticed an awful stench in the air that smelled like rotting meat. He was trying to wake up his mom, who was pissed off. She said, it's 3 a.m. What are you doing? He told her, there's something scary outside.
Aww.
So she said, it's probably just an animal. Go to bed. He said, no, there's some really scary shit outside. She gets up, bolts to the window, and looks outside, says, what the hell are you talking about? Then they heard it again. Screaming. Not only screaming, but thrashing outside on the ground. And he says, hear that? That's what I'm talking about. Both her and him look outside the window, and this weird coyote thing is making its way to the door. It walked with an odd limp and dragged its back right leg in the sand or dirt. We could hear it start to scratch against the door and made this odd muffled moaning sound. My mom went and got my dad. They both started shouting in Navajo all sorts of words, telling the thing to go away and saying it's not welcome here. Well, all this commotion was enough to get the rest of the trailer up. Obviously, everyone's awake now. The only thing my mom did was turn to them and said, Skinwalker. Very quickly, very quietly. And everyone got silent, knew apparently what to do. His grandfather pulled out a handgun from a drawer and a bag of ashes. He coated bullets in ashes, loaded them into the gun, then went straight to the door, yelling out Navajo, and begun firing.
Whoa.
Says that the thing managed to escape before my grandpa could put a bullet in it, and he said that's the fastest one I've ever seen. Next thing you know, my aunts and parents are freaking out about what happened, saying stuff at like, what if it comes back tomorrow? And it saw us. It saw our faces. Is it gonna target us now? Do you think it will remember us? After my grandparents calmed down, everyone went back to bed. Morning comes, the grandparents call one of their neighbors and explain to them what happened. Apparently, one of them was a medicine man who used to partake in Navajo ceremonies. He came over to bless the family in the house.
Okay.
That's the end of that. So, we're building lore here.
Right.
Orange glowy eyes.
Facial recognition.
Facial recognition. And something with ashes is what you need to wound it or kill it. Apparently, it can understand people.
So you had mentioned it looked like it seems to consistently look like an animal, but not right. Like it's always getting a couple of details wrong.
It's almost like it saw a coyote who was hit by a car.
Right.
And took that shape.
Did you ever see What We Do in the Shadows?
No.
So it's a comedy.
Yeah, about like vampires.
Yeah. But that guy, I forget his name. It's the singer from Flight of the Conchords.
Yeah.
He's in it. He plays Dracula. And they make a joke about how he's very powerful, but he never got animal transfiguration right. He always forgets the face. And so there's at one point, they have someone in their vampire mansion and they're trying to eat them.
Okay.
And they turn a corner trying to escape the place, and a cat goes, and it's his face. He's like, oh, God.
Oh, no.
And so you said it was like, a big old bear or a coyote with a human face. And I just kept picturing that.
Anyway, this is the last one that we'll have time for. We live in a rural community on the Navajo reservation. My aunt and her two brothers were home alone while my grandparents had left for the evening to attend a chapter house meeting. They were in the house, and like many people from the reservation, they didn't have electricity. It had been dark outside for about an hour. My aunt and my uncles were getting ready for bed. Outside, they heard noises, as if someone was moving things around. My oldest uncle went to look out the front window and saw a figure out by the truck. This was immensely out of the ordinary because the closest neighbor was miles away. Whatever it was, opened the truck door and began to dig through the personal items that my family had left in the vehicle. My aunt and uncles were frightened by the sight and knew that they should take action. They took out the rifle and all steadied themselves to hold it up. They flung open the door and aimed the gun at the dark figure. The figure turned and started to walk towards them, totally unfazed by the weapon. My uncle pulled the trigger, but nothing happened. The gun didn't go off. The figure drew closer. My aunt began to smell something like a rotting corpse. It was so strong, she began gagging. My uncle continued to pull the trigger with no luck, and the figure came closer and closer. Off in the distance, headlights were coming up the road. My grandparents were returning. The figure looked toward the lights and started to move away and tucked itself behind a tree near the house. My oldest uncle ran toward the truck with the gun. My grandfather got out of the car and my uncle pointed to the tree. The thing was poking out its head to observe what they were doing. My grandfather ran into the house and over the stove grabbed a handful of ashes, rubbed these ashes all over the gun, placed an ash-covered bullet into the chamber. He walked out onto the porch and fired toward the tree. Whatever the thing was didn't expect the gun to go off. It went off this time. The gunshot echoed and the dark figure began running. My grandma chased my aunt inside and uncles and my uncles and my grandfather went after it. There weren't many roads or paths, so my grandfather and uncles chased after the figure pretty easily. The truck was bouncing and the headlights were not fixed on one particular spot. My uncle swears that whenever the headlights would hit the figure, that he saw a woman. The figure, it was a woman that they were chasing. He said, but not only that, whoever was running was on all fours.
Okay.
My grandfather eventually stopped the truck as they neared a ditch that dropped about 20 feet. He got out and began to yell in Navajo. My uncle says that he was yelling about a local woman. He yelled that he wasn't scared and that he knew it was her and to leave his family alone. A few days passed and there was news that the woman that my grandfather was yelling about had passed. I've always been told that if you know who the skinwalker is, say their name and it will kill them. So apparently, right, we now know in the lore, it takes shape of something dead that it found. Every single time they talk about a skinwalker, they talk about it like looking like either a dog that was hit by a car or a coyote that was clearly hit by a car or fell off a cliff or something, or a woman
who had already died. Are you sure they weren't saying, like, secretly she had been a skinwalker the whole time?
No.
Okay.
He's saying that
it took the shape of her because she had died.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So that shit is super fucking creepy. Why we don't have any skinwalker horror movies yet, I don't fucking know.
I think we might. I just don't know that they're good ones.
I was like, but like AAA movies.
Yeah, that is a gold mine. Horror gold mine.
Because it's fucking disgusting. And all of these stories were from completely different places, and they have the same little things about them. Mm-hmm. Glowing eyes, clearly not right look, not howling, but screaming. Mm-hmm. And I've heard of that too. I've actually seen videos, and I know you've seen them too, of people on like a reservation being like, look, you can hear the skinwalkers. And they like put their camera outside and you hear this like almost like a mountain lion.
Yeah.
Right? You know, mountain lions like make that like a scream like a woman.
lady scream, yeah.
But there are no mountain lions in the middle of a desert.
Right.
And you hear that scream.
Ugh.
It's fucking gross. They disgust me. And damn,
So
I'll
do you
say
think they're real?
I fear them. Oh, I think they're real. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if it was all bullshit. Mm-hmm. But I would like to think, well, not that I like to. I do think they are real. I think a lot of like the dirty little creepy cryptid shit could all be explained away with skinwalkers.
A lot of it, I think, could be. Including
Bigfoot, dude. Uh-huh. Bigfoot could be explained away as a skinwalker, and that would make a lot more sense why we only see them in national parks or reservations where you have vast expanses of land with no people around.
That's another thing that's so funny. A lot of people who believe they had an encounter with Bigfoot, or that they believe he was like a Bigfoot was close or whatever, a Yeti or Sasquatch, whatever you want to call it, have talked about the smell of rotting meat.
Yeah.
That smelled like rancid meat.
It's disgusting. Uh-huh. And apparently, there's another one I read. We don't have time, so we're not going into them. But apparently they can, they find a target. Like, it's like they look for food. Mm-hmm. But if they find a target, they will pinpoint on it. And how they find that is if they see it. So if they see your face, apparently, you are all they want now.
Ew.
I think that is a little more.
You had some other stories you might have told if we had more time.
That's right.
Do any of them talk about that?
At least one of them.
Is that for Patreon only?
That is for Patreon only, and I'm so sorry. It is a really good one.
Ooh, man.
It's a really eerie one.
Okay. And I've got good news for you, patrons. I found that that Reddit story thread from before, that park ranger, national, what is it, search and rescue?
Yep.
National Park Search and Rescue. He's got a ton of stories on there. And you had told me what your stories were going to be about beforehand. And so I found one of his that talks about like a little goat man situation.
Disgusting.
I know.
Disgusting.
We're going to get our spook on Patreon.
Ugh. It's gross. And I hate it.
It's so awful.
Glad we're doing that.
Well, all right. Why don't you go ahead and spin the wheel one more time?
I will. For the final wheel spin.
You forgot where the wheel was there for a second. It must have moved during the break or something.
Maybe I moved.
You're in the same seat, though.
Whatever. You have to spend 4 days in the place of your co-host's choosing. Would you do it for $500,000? Or would you be a bitch? So I think we're allowed to say yes or no.
Okay.
If you say yes and you follow through in the 4 days and you do it, you get $500,000.
Okay.
If you say yes and you don't think you could follow through in the 4 days, you're a bitch. If you say no, you're a bitch.
I know where I'm sending you.
I don't know where I'm sending you yet.
Give that to me. It's called the Devil's Tramping Ground.
Tramping?
Uh-huh. You're tramping all over this ground.
Tramping? You got tramps?
Mm-hmm. Let me see if I can find a little something about it. Let's see. So it's a little creepy place out in the middle of nowhere. Because of course. And there it is. It's supposed to be like this random circle in the middle of the woods where nothing will grow and animals won't wander into.
Oh, no. In Japan?
No.
No?
No, I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure it's here in America.
Let me see it.
Sorry. It's being searched for right now. I'm just going to use a different window. Give me a second.
I don't like that. You know I hate national parks and shit.
I know you hate it, but listen, Jacob, you don't have to do it. You don't have to get $500,000. You can just be a bitch.
No.
You have options, okay? I have to try to search for it again. Anyway, you can't think of anyone for me?
I'm thinking.
place?
I'm thinking. Okay?
The Devil's Tramping Ground is a camping spot located in a forest near the Harper's Crossroads area in Bear Creek, North Carolina. It has been the subject of persistent local legends and lore, which frequently allege that the devil tramps and haunts a barren circle of ground in which nothing is supposed to grow. It has frequently been noted on lists of unusual place names. Legends about the ring are well known in local communities. These include the disappearance of objects left within the ring overnight, dogs yipping and howling, not wanting to go near it, and strange events occurring to those who spend the night within its boundaries.
I'd have to be in the boundaries?
You would have to be in the boundaries. It has been alleged that nothing will grow within the 40 feet ring for 100 years. Supposedly, it is where the devil walks in circles on certain nights, thinking of ways to bring his evil into the world.
Can I see it?
Yeah. It looks like there was a fire there, but there wasn't.
I don't like that.
It's just one night.
I don't like that.
Oh, it's 4
though.
actually, isn't
It's
it?
4 nights. I don't like that.
Well, think about it. In the meantime, where would I have to stay the night or be a bitch?
Man. I mean, that's not what I was thinking. It's not what I had in mind.
What'd you have in mind?
Oh, actually, a good one just popped up. Let me think. There we go. Now we're getting the good photos. A lot of those were fake. But I would send you to. You can accept or decline and be a bitch.
Okay.
Aaaaaaaaaaaaah National Forest.
Okay.
Now, I brutally pronounced that name because it's in Japanese. This forest, Jessica, is better known as Suicide Forest.
How did I know you were going to say that?
Yes, I am sending you to Suicide Forest. You can look at those pictures there. A lot of them was fake, but some of them are cool.
It's really pretty, actually.
No, it's disgusting.
Look at how gorgeous all of that is.
That's gross. That's the picture that I specifically clicked as like the creepiest.
It's
I hate
beautiful.
that. No, that's disgusting. You gonna go camp out in Suicide Forest, Jessica?
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
4 days? Mm-hmm. You think you'd make the full 4 days?
I don't know. I might get spooked out of my mind and not be able to stay. But I would definitely try to stay there. Would you try to stay in the Devil's Tramping Ground?
I'd definitely drive over there.
Would you stay there?
I would say if I got to the tramping ground, there is a 30% chance that I choose to stay. But more than likely, even after that moment, there's only like a 5% chance I make it the full 4 days.
You're crazy. This forest is gorgeous.
You're
Look at
disgusting.
that. It's so pretty.
You're disgusting, and I hate you.
Everything's so green.
What if I would have sent you to the catacombs?
Ew.
Would that have been better? You have to stay inside of the catacombs.
No takesies,
hold on.
backsies. You already
No,
decided.
I changed my mind. That's where you're going. Catacombs in France. And you have to specifically be in one area. I don't care where, but specifically an area that is closed from tourists. You have to cross over a tourist line and get to a point where no tourist can see you. That is the one stipulation I'll put. You just can't be seen by tourists. You can be very close to them, or you can be as far into the catacombs as you want.
Yeah. Well, that's
you choose?
grosser, and I hate it more, but I would definitely try.
That's disgusting. I would have said no to that in a heartbeat.
I won't say no. I'll try it.
Catacombs gross me the fuck out.
Hate it. Don't like being underground.
Dude, because you know exactly what kind of people are hanging out down there. Fucking cultists.
Weirdos, mole people.
Gross.
Okay. You can choose between the Devil's Tramping Ground
Yeah?
and one of the abandoned subway tunnels under the New York City.
Fuck, I'm Devil's Tramping Ground. At least I know if I'm getting murdered, it's by like a demon, and that's like out of my that's out of my control. In the abandoned subway, I'm gonna get shanked by 40 different fucking mole people. That's disgusting.
Well, there's a third option. You could be a bitch.
Okay, fuck you. Whatever. Honestly, I'd probably be a bitch. I wouldn't do any of that shit. So
there was one person. It's like if you look up like people's experiences there, they're like it's very Blair Witchy. They're like we don't understand. Like we could hear footsteps at night when we were trying to sleep, and I thought I heard someone like lean in toward like the wall of the tent and like whisper things.
that's so gross. I hate that. I would be drunk out of my mind. Or high out of my mind the whole time. That's the only way I make it through. With a loaded gun in my hand.
In case you need to shoot the devil
Yeah.
as he's tramping
It's just tramping around.
all up and down.
Yep.
Okay.
So if I'm sleeping out in the middle of the Devil's Tramping Ground, don't come near my tent.
Because I'll shoot
I
you.
will shoot it. After the 4 days is over, Jessica, you like throw a rock at me and be like, Jake, it's Jess. And I'll give you a code word to use. It'll be something like,
Jacob, cucumber.
Jacob, chrysanthemum. Yeah. Well, if you liked what you heard, please like, rate, subscribe, and share this podcast. You can share it with anyone who loves or hates national parks.
Yes, anyone who's even heard of national parks. Anyone who fears the skinwalker.
Yeah. Disgusting.
Gross.
Or the goat man. Kind of sort of also a skinwalker, probably.
Sort of the same, but also probably not. Who
Hate
knows? Go ahead and visit our website at 3shotsin.com. Add yourself to our email list. Check out our Patreon link, as well as our PayPal single-time donation button. That's our little internet tip jar. You can also continue supporting the podcast just by listening or by clicking on one of our fancy new affiliate links.
Yes, they're awesome. More importantly, on that Patreon link, it's only $5 a month. So cheap, so affordable. You get to hear awesome things like some other spooky stories that we have for this episode. We will put those out on Patreon, as well as a super secret podcast we got there, 3 Shot Cinema.
3 Shot Cinema. Next up, 3 Shot Cinema Gang.
Evil Dead Rise.
Evil Dead Rise. Very excited.
Not excited in the slightest for it.
I know it's going to be a rough ride, but I'm excited for the ride.
Disgusting. Can't wait to watch it and talk about it. Next week, next topic. Catch.
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 Cool.
So maybe you're talking about
Pitchers and catchers.
a little gay boy
That's where my mind went.
who catches on the weekends. I don't know.
Nice.
Or maybe you're talking about a murderer who's catching them teens and slaughtering them.
Or an investigator who catches criminals.
Or maybe a TV show that is all about catching predators. The
Nice.
sexual kind,
Yes.
of course.
Right. Well, stay tuned for that. We'll see you next
Yes.
time.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We love you. Bye.
Later.